Billions. Is it going to be a lot of moments like that, water cooler moments, where you're going to have to watch it live or fear, having it ruined on a red carpet?
I don't know. I think there is a thriller element in Billions, but it's a more the writing is so fantastic that there might be some lines which get out there, and like the line from the pilot, what's the point of having "f you" money if you never say "f you"? And I think that trended on Twitter or wherever it was. So, if they keep writing great lines like that, there's every possibility that there'll be these water cooler moments. But I think the way in which Paul and myself will be sort of coming down the same track in opposing directions, waiting for this big collision, these two kings, if you like, just sort of trying to outmaneuver one another. Hopefully it'll throw up some interesting moments.
You look at sort of the description of this, and you kind of don't see people won't know until they watch the first episode about his interesting backstory and how he became, the head of the company. Mm-hmm. How important is the 9/11, the fact that he's the only one that survived, he wasn't there when it happened? How important is that to who he is?
Well, I think I think he has a bit of survivor guilt, and I think it informs the way in which he wants to put back, certainly work charitably on behalf of the orphaned kids. He sets up these scholarship funds, which we see in the pilot, and I think he's sincere about that. He takes all that very seriously. I think the mystery is why Bobby was not in the tower on the day. And I'm not suggesting for a second that it's Bobby Axelrod, the terrorist. I don't think he was involved in that, but I think he might have been involved in something.
Shady business?
And I don't actually know what that is.
Do you know if they're going to explore that? That was definitely something I was wondering after I watched the first episode.
I think they will. They've sown the seed. I think they will.
Okay. Gosh, what an interesting character. Did you do any research into these types of figures?
I did a lot, and I have met several of them, and they're all fascinating. Bobby, I would have to say, though, is not much like the guys that I met, only in that he is an elevated, heightened character. I think Bobby is a little bit of a rock star. I think as much as he says, as shrewd as he is, and as smart as he is, as analytical as he is, which I found all of them to be, I think he can't resist a little bit of Showtime, and I think he just enjoys that aspect of his life. So I think he has to be careful about that, and it might be that sense of ego in him, maybe a little bit of the show off that he'll have to watch. He'll have to guard against.
I love his parenting style as well. Can you talk a little bit about that? We get a little bit of that.
People talk about the parenting scene quite a lot, and it's interesting because no one has said whether they think it's warm and affectionate and good parenting, or whether it's a little overbearing, competitive, setting the two kids off against one another, parenting in that sense. I think the way I found the scene when I first saw it, when we played it, was that it was both. But it was very much parenting from a father who had grown up, I think, in simpler surroundings, and who was driving his kids, which I have seen a lot, actually, from growing up from parents, that kind of father who is incredibly close to his sons and daughters. But there's a sort of toughness there. There's you learn the facts, I will grill you on them, you will get them right because this will help you. And it's all done with great affection, great warmth, a playfulness, albeit that ends up in doing 10 push-ups if you get the answer wrong. But it's there's a sort of, it's their version of warmth and playfulness, but underlying that a serious message that you pay attention. Pay attention so that you can grow up to do well. Yeah. Which is an innately competitive, ambitious streak that just is in Bobby. So he passes that on.